I'm back by popular demand. Well, kind of. Like, it's not that popular. But I figured I'd make another video because even though it's been a month later, that Vosh video is still getting, like, views and comments and stuff. So, I might as well. But when I first made that Vosh video, I wasn't sure if I was going to make another video because while I'm satisfied with the end product of that video, making that video was a struggle because while I did want to make that video, I had to watch Vosh a lot over and over again, and I didn't like doing that. It was kind of a struggle, but here we go. I'm making another video. This video is another like commentary criticism of another YouTube video. It's a video by a guy named John Doyle, and it's called "Why Do Liberals Hate Christmas? Heck Off, Commie." And it's pretty bad. It's pretty cringe. But the reason that I'm doing this about this video was because I was tricked into watching this video. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I watched it months ago, and then YouTube's algorithm like re-recommended it to me for some reason like months later, and I was like, I remember this shit, but it recommended it to me like months ago. It was like, and the reason I clicked on it is because of the thumbnail. It looks exactly like a different video by Counter Arguments, because fucking John Doyle used the same picture, he just changed it slightly. And the funny thing is, it has nothing to do with that Counter Arguments video. He doesn't mention it, he doesn't talk about it. So why does he use their thumbnail? I don't know. Maybe he hoped it'd get him a couple more views, and or people would accidentally click on it. Like when I'm sitting down and I'm eating and I just kind of see the thumbnail and I'm like, I've seen this video before, it's alright. And then I click on it and I'm like, I don't know what this is. What is this? And I watch it and it's not good. And I'm like, why did I watch that? Well, here I am back again to talk about it. And another disclaimer. I don't watch any other John Doyle videos. I don't know what his other videos are like. I just know this one, okay? Alright, although given that it's part of a series, this video is called Heck Off, Commie, I can imagine that the rest of the videos are as bad as this one. You know what I mean? Like, and the funny thing is, it doesn't start off bad. Or not that bad. It goes off the rails in like the middle of the video. And it makes me laugh. It really did make me laugh. Like the first time I saw it, and when I went back, I haven't seen it in a month. Let me watch it again and see if I remember. See if it's as bad as I remember. And yes, it was. It was as bad as I remember. And it took me like halfway through the video because I'm like, yep, there it is. Yeah, it gets bad here. And it's like he's doing this channel where he's like owning the libs, I guess. You know what I mean? With facts and logic. He's owning the libs, and the funny thing is, I don't consider myself a liberal. I don't consider myself a conservative either. Like, it's just, I could agree with particular, like, maybe points that liberals make or conservatives make or even libertarians, whatever. Like, but I don't prescribe to any of those kind of ideologies. Not really. It's also, he says he's also against, like, socialists. I don't really see myself as a socialist, but there are policies that I agree with that get labeled socialist or socialism, and I don't really know if that makes me a socialist or not. I don't really care, because I just agree with the policy. I don't agree with it because it's socialism. I don't disagree with it because it's not social, or something like that. Like, I really don't care about the label at all. Like, it means nothing to me. To me, in my mind, socialism is just a buzzword. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The policy in and of itself is what matters. Whether or not it can be labeled socialism is, like, completely irrelevant to me. Like, I don't care. And then he's also against communists. I don't consider myself a communist. There aren't very many communists in America these days. Well, there are some, I'm not going to argue with them there. There are some communists. There are some pretty cringy liberals. And I'm pretty sure that there's pretty cringy people out there that call themselves socialists. So, he's got I'm pretty sure he's got a lot of people that he could own. But, kind of owning himself in the process. So, we'll see. I'm going to skip the intro of his video because, this is, for time's sake, shorten it. All right. Let's watch the video.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heck Off Commie. It's been a while. Seems like it's been a while since the last video. A lot of stuff has happened, not only in the news, but also with the channel, because YouTube actually deleted the last video that we posted about the white Trump supporter getting beat up, and I had to fight them to get that put back up. And also, it's my birthday. Kind of cool, I guess. Here I am, spending it with you, because this is just so much fun.
Well, happy birthday, John Doyle. I mean, I know it's not your birthday now when I'm recording this video, but, I hope that your past birthday was a good one.
And I've been getting a lot of messages and emails the last few weeks asking about censorship on the channel, future plans for the channel, what to get me for my birthday, for Christmas, stuff like that. So I'm going to address that all at once at the end of this video after we're done talking about this war on Christmas, as it's called. And even if you're not Christian, it's still important to be aware of this because your country was built by it.
So the country was built by the war on Christmas? I know that's not what he meant, but it's what it sounded like he said.
And most non-Christian or non-religious people that I've talked to understand this and they appreciate it, but I still have to say that because there's always the people who are going to get upset about it. So, firstly, I'm not one of these war on Christmas guys, like in 2015 or 2016 when Starbucks put out the all-red holiday cups and people thought it was a war on Christmas. That's not me. I'm not one of those people. But I will say that when you have a cultural narrative that says that you can't wish someone well, you can't even wish them a Merry Christmas, I would definitely consider that to be a symptom of what would be called a war on Christmas. So, we'll explain why that's happening, what the motivations are. But first, I do want to clarify why we say Merry Christmas. The left thinks that when we say Merry Christmas to somebody, it's rude because we're either assuming that they're Christian, which just affirms the oppressive Western culture in which we live, or we're just saying it anyways to assert ourselves and make them feel unwelcome if they're not Christian. Neither of those are the case. But, when you're on the left and your identity is largely predicated upon feeling victimized by everything, it's hard to kind of understand that the average person isn't going to share in your infatuation with that. So
he keeps on saying the left, like it's widespread on the left that people get offended by people saying Merry Christmas. And as far as I can tell, I don't know anybody that gets offended by someone saying Merry Christmas, left or not. Like, I don't know anyone who gets offended by that. And yeah, I can kind of see where he's coming from. There are a lot of people that are identify as left or liberal. People call them stuff like SJW or whatever. They get offended by everything, like everything under the sun. It seems like somebody gets offended these days. Everybody's offended, but I don't know anyone that's offended by this. It seems like somebody was and wrote some shitty clickbait article, and he's using that as like evidence that the left hates Christmas. The left hates Christmas, y'all. But it doesn't really seem that the left as a whole hates Christmas. It seems like someone who I guess identified as left doesn't like the phrase Merry Christmas very much. I'd also like to add that I'm not Christian, and I say Merry Christmas to people, and I celebrate Christmas. And a lot of people who aren't Christian celebrate Christmas. You have your Christian Christmas and you have your secular Christmas. It's really easy to just cherry pick your religious stuff right out of Christmas and have yourself a secular Christmas. Real easy. And I'm pretty sure John Doyle is aware of this, though. This is not news to anyone. It's pretty widespread. And there's even Christians out there that don't celebrate Christmas. Just putting that out there, too,
The reason that we say Merry Christmas is because we are conveying feelings of warmth and brotherhood to the people that we meet. Like, I'm wishing them well in the way that my culture does, in the way that my religion does, and I have only the purest intentions, the same way like when someone wishes me a happy Hanukkah. I'm not offended by that. I appreciate that because they are including me in their celebration. I take that as a compliment because they're wishing me the same feelings of warmth and camaraderie and brotherhood, but in a way that is known to them or in the way to which they're accustomed. And now,
sure, I can agree with this point. I can give credit where credit is due. If somebody doesn't celebrate Christmas and you say Merry Christmas to them, it's a positive thing. Like, you didn't mean anything bad or negative by it. Same if you were to say Happy Hanukkah to someone and they didn't celebrate Hanukkah. It's not a bad thing. Like, I can agree with this point here. And if you want to say Happy Holidays to be more inclusive, that's fine too.
This is a good story. I used to work with this guy named Dominique. It's probably like the nicest guy I've ever worked with. And he grew up in a pretty rough area. And so whenever I leave, I'd say like, all right, man, I'll see you later. And he would always say to me, okay, man, be safe. And I would think about that a lot because the area we used to work in was not a bad area. It was actually a really nice area. And so presumably the reason that he would say that to me is because the area he grew up in was not that great an area. So he's just trying to wish me well in the way that he was taught to do so. It's like, why would I be offended by that? You know, like the progressive response to that would be, are you saying that because you're assuming I live in a high crime area because I don't have the money to move out? Did you just assume my income, bro? Did you just assume my tax bracket? It's like, right. You know, the point is that whenever someone is trying to communicate feelings of positivity towards you, you should appreciate that. Otherwise, you're probably a jerk. But the reason that the left hates Christmas is because Christmas, Christianity, the belief that we are one nation under God, these are all pillars of our society.
Wow, this is the part of the video where he starts to ramp up the ridiculousness. He goes off on this thing where he says that Christmas, Christianity, and one nation under God are the pillars of our society. I'm not sure what he means by this, since it's just a broad blanket statement. He's not making any specific points. Like, he didn't make a point by saying that. He just said it, and maybe it sounds good to him, but that's not a... Like, in what way? He doesn't explain, but I would say to that, probably not. I mean, look at one nation under God that was added to the Pledge of Allegiance in the 1950s. A lot of our founding fathers weren't Christians. People say we're a Christian nation, but that's only because the majority of people in the United States are Christian, but in reality... We're a secular nation. Like, we don't have a state religion. Christianity is not our state religion. And that's a good thing. Even if you're a Christian, that's a good thing. Okay? I don't know what he's getting at. I think it has something to do with, like, some other theory I've heard where, like, Christianity gets, like, over-credited for, like, every good thing in Western culture and Western society. And it's a little bit ridiculous. Like, you know, I could say that some good things in Western society come from Christianity, sure, yeah, but not like all of them or most of them. Then you argue like what is a good thing and then what's good. It's just such a wonky argument, you know what I mean? Like, it's not very good or convincing. I think you just say it to get Christians to feel like more prideful in their religion, you know what I mean? Like, they're more proud. Oh yeah, we have such a great religion. Like, that's all it really feels like he's saying. He's just sort of like preaching to the choir, as they say.
And the left hates our society. It's like there's a reason that they're progressives and we are conservatives. They're trying to change almost everything about our society, and we're trying to conserve it, though we've been pretty unsuccessful, frankly. But the values which our society was built upon are rooted in Christianity. And so in order for the left to succeed, they have to turn the culture away from Christianity and away from God.
This guy speaks so general and broadly. It's kind of hard to, like, address him, but sure, there are people out there that hate Western culture and Western society. Sure, there are people out there that hate Christians. Sure, but a lot of people on the left, I feel, are on the left because they want society to be better. That's why they're progressive. They want to progress to a better version of the society that we have. They don't want to destroy it. They want to improve it. And isn't that a noble gesture? Isn't that like a good thing? Like, I don't think everyone on the left just, oh, we hate Christianity, and in order to destroy it, we have to destroy Western society, and that's what being progressive is all about. Like, come on, man. Like, what is this? What is this? What have I stumbled upon? What is this?
And I believe the saying is that you can take the man away from God, but you can never take God away from the man. And that's true, because maybe they're not worshiping God anymore, but they'll still put their faith into something, whether it's the state or whether it's these environmentalist movements that behave as religious groups behave.
Yeah, I can agree that ideologues can come in like all sorts of like shapes and sizes or whatever. Like, you know, not every religious person is the bad kind of religious person, but there are people who are like that are like fundamentalists, that are like up their own ass about, you know, whatever religion it is, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, whatever. But there are people that are up their own ass in the same way, the same type of fundamentalist, the same like type of person that are up their own ass about a ideology that isn't religion, that's like liberalism or conservatism or libertarianism. Like, you know, it's like no matter what group, whatever ism there is, there are some like nuts in there. There's some nutty douchebags in there. You know what I mean? Like, you can't win. There's always going to be someone in the corner that's just like, this guy. I can't with this guy. Like, oh man. But yeah, And again, not every religious person is a nut. Just the religious nuts are the nuts.
And this is why there's such a high correlation between atheism and authoritarian leftism. Because if atheism were simply a rejection of the idea of a God, you'd expect to see a normal distribution throughout the political spectrum of it. But that's not the case. It's highly correlated with authoritarian leftism. So it's really not that they don't worship a God. It's just that their God is the state. And again, this is just a tendency. Obviously, there are exceptions to this. I know that every time I say this, there's a lot of atheists who self-identify as conservatives. They get mad at me. So again, it's just a tendency from which we can draw conclusions.
All right, so he's talking about communism. How communism just forces people into atheism. It's just what it does. And because of that, a high number of atheists on the planet are communists. I mean, look at how many people are in communist China. Huge number of people, billion people. A lot of them are atheists or have to say that they are. Or if they don't, they're in trouble or whatever. But yeah, that's a little different than people who are atheists that don't live in those types of countries, when they come to it on their own sort of volition. If you look at the Western world and you look at atheists, I think they would be more all over the political spectrum if you just ignore the communist countries, because they're sort of atheists for different reasons. But yeah, they would be all over the political spectrum, but I would admit that they probably gravitate towards progressive, maybe libertarian, or maybe liberal. Just there would be definitely some things that they would gravitate towards. There's a reason why. There's also a reason why it's called the religious right. Religion is sort of drawn to it and associated with it. Just how atheism is sort of associated with the left, even though, there's a lot of, he even says it. So I'm just, clarifying, but he even says it. There are definitely conservative atheists out there. So, you get the picture.
And that's why they have a problem with Christmas, because they have a problem with Christianity, fundamentally. They would never correct someone saying Happy Hanukkah by telling them, you should say Happy Holidays. They would never correct someone saying Happy Kwanzaa by telling them to say Happy Holidays instead, even though Kwanzaa is a fake holiday. And that's because true Christianity is the antithesis of leftism. It is the exact opposite, because if you're a Christian, your understanding of truth is derived from God. You believe in objective truth and you believe in objective morality. The left does not believe in that. The left believes in whatever they want to believe in. They worship themselves. Frankly, there's no true definition of marriage, no true definition of gender, no true definition of a man or of a woman. Everything is decided by how you feel, and whatever you feel is your truth, because there is no the truth, only your truth.
Holy fucking shit. This guy just went straight off the fucking rails. But before we get into what John Doyle just fucking said, let's talk about some word definitions. First, let's talk about objectivity. When something is objectively true, that means that it's true independently of individual subjectivity. And subjective means that it has to do with your consciousness, within your consciousness, your perception, your feelings, your beliefs, your desires. That's what subjectivity. It's let me get you some examples. I'm sitting in a chair right now. This chair being in my room is objective. It's here, whether or not I can see that it's there. It's here, whether or not I know it's here. It's just here, right? Me thinking to myself, man, this is a real comfortable chair, that's subjective. That has to do with what I perceive about the chair and just my perceptions. And he talks about Christianity like it's this objective truth. Like Christianity is objectively true. No, it's a belief system. People believe it to be true. There is no hard empirical evidence that proves that Christianity is truth, it's the right religion. No. People just believe in it. That's why they say they have faith in God and they have faith in their religion. Because nobody knows for sure if it's true. Right? It's not an objective truth. And he talks about objective morality. Morality is subjective. Like, morality is just straight up subjective. Yeah, some people have the religious belief that morality is objective, but they're just wrong. Like, they're just factually incorrect about that. He talks about the left. Like, they believe whatever they want to believe. Isn't that what you're doing when you believe in Christianity? You're believing in what you want to believe, right? You're doing exactly that. Like, the amount of cognitive dissonance here is fucking unfucking real. Like, he's projecting his own tendencies onto the left, like, so hard it's ridiculous. They don't believe in the truth. They believe in their truth. You don't care about the truth, do you? You don't care about the truth when you're talking about Christianity is objective truth and it's the basis of my objective morality. No, you don't believe in the truth at all. You don't care about the truth at all. You care about your truth. Christianity is your, quote, truth, end quote. And yet you get upset at the left for doing exactly what you're doing now. And sure, maybe there are people there are people all over the place that do what you're doing. Like, not just in the left. I mean, there surely are, but, like, all over the place. But the fact remains is you're the one doing it right now in this video. You... like, it's so funny. It's so, like, ironic. Like, his hypocrisy is insane. And the amount of cognitive dissonance, like... Because this isn't a live stream. Like, he wrote this out like a script and just set it into a camera. Like, he did... Oh, my... It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Like, he's going off the fucking rails right now. It's ridiculous.
Same thing with the value of human life. There's no objective standard of human life because, well, it's the woman's choice. That means that a woman can decide at any point during her pregnancy when to kill the child, which means that she can decide arbitrarily when that human's life has value. And we're not allowed to promote objective standards because her body, her choice. It's like, okay, but what about the fetus? That's what we're concerned about. It's like, do you need me to repeat my bumper sticker argument to you again? Ow.
At this point in the video, I'm pretty sure that John Doyle does not know what the word objective means. He just likes to use it. He likes the way that it sounds. But to him, it's just a buzzword. I feel like people that believe in objective morality have a stunted sense of morality. When you just blindly believe that something is right or wrong because an authority tells you, that's a logical fallacy. That is an appeal to authority logical fallacy. And you're robbing morality of its contextuality. You know, you stunt yourself from, so you stop yourself from asking any, like, philosophical questions about morality. You know, you stop yourself from improving your own moral compass. Like, isn't it better to just acknowledge the subjectivity of morality? To be more moral in the process? Well, let's get back on track. He's talking about abortions now. That hot button topic, you know? Well, let me give my opinions on it. He didn't, by the way, he never mentioned whether or not he thinks it should be legal or illegal. He just said he wants it to, he just thinks it's immoral. By the way, I don't know, you know, it sounds like he thinks it should be illegal or something, but you never know. He might not think that. I don't want to put words down his throat. You know. But it definitely should be legal. Like, that's a definite. Definitely should be legal because, you know, women are just going to get them anyway. They're going to get them done in alleys. They're going to get botched. They're going to die. It's better if a doctor does it. They'll get them no matter what. It's better if a doctor does it. So that's the first thing. And another thing is, from a socioeconomic standpoint, it's good if people have the option. Not everyone can afford to have a kid or afford to have a kid right now. And children can be a financial burden. It's better if someone, you know, is like, listen, I can't afford to have a kid right now. I want to wait till later in life, or I don't want to have one at all. Like, give people the choice and the option. It's better from a socioeconomic standpoint for that. You know, I'm not all for the rich get richer, poor get poorer. No. Let's let people change their class. Let's give them the opportunity and the means to do that, all right? Now, for the moral aspect of it, I really don't feel like I can judge someone. I don't really feel like I can pass moral judgment on someone on this particular subject. Really, because, you know, I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's like. It's like that song. You might not know what it's like to have to choose. He's right. He's right in that song. Like, I don't know what it's like. I've never had to stare down the barrel of that situation. And I won't ever, because I'm a fucking man, and so are you, John Doyle. You can't really... I don't see how you could pass a moral judgment on someone. I mean, you can, but I don't really see how you could in this situation. Or at least not a blanket moral judgment. You know what I mean?
Christianity teaches us to be selfless, but leftism is built upon, what can you do for me? How much of your money can you give to me because I don't like that you have more of it than I do? You have to call me a boy even though we both know that I'm a girl, and if you don't, I'll get you fired because I'm entitled to you altering the truth to make me comfortable. I'm entitled to healthcare. I'm entitled to more money even though I'm not being more productive. All of these examples are just manifestations of entitlement that are not permitted by true Christianity.
What the fuck is this guy talking about? If you can't afford healthcare and you're sick and you need to see a doctor and you want healthcare, you're fucking selfish. So what are you saying? That's not the selfless Christian way to be. The selfless Christian way would to tell that motherfucker he doesn't get healthcare if he can't afford it. Flat out. What the hell is wrong with this guy? If I want my tax dollars to be spent on a collective good that I and most other Americans could benefit from, I'm being entitled. If I don't want it to go to something that only a very small percent of the most wealthy of the wealthy could benefit from, I'm being entitled. If I want my representatives to represent my interests and the interest of the people that vote for them, as opposed to the oligarchs, the banks and corporations that put money in their pockets, and in this case, when it comes to healthcare, hospital lobbies and pharmaceutical companies, I'm being entitled. How dare I be entitled to being represented by my representatives? Like, what planet is this guy from? Is he like from Bizarro World? What is this? What backwards fucking shit is this? This guy is just an ideologue. He doesn't like universal healthcare because it's labeled left. And that is fucking it. Any reason he thinks he has isn't a fucking reason. All this, oh, it's not Christian shit, it's just stupid bullshit. And the funny thing is, labeling a public healthcare system as the left is a very American thing to do. Like in most other places around the world, it's considered like centrist at best. It's not this super left thing. It's pretty like run of the mill. Like, yeah, you know, public healthcare. That's a pretty normal thing. That's not like a fucking. It's not like fucking communism. Come on, man. It's a that's way left. This is just kind of in the middle. Universal healthcare. Come on. This is why I don't care for left versus right politics. You know what I mean? Like this whole, the left, they suck, the left, I don't like the left, oh, the right, they suck, the right, oh, fuck the right, oh. It's just stupid ideologues, like, a lot of the time, like a high percentage of the time. I know that there's a lot of people on the left that are reasonable, a lot of people on the right that are reasonable, but all too often you get guys like this, and it's just completely unreasonable. You know? Like, I feel like we've moved away from the left-right spectrum. Or I have, at least. It's not really relevant anymore to me. Like, I'm not going to look at a policy and judge it based off of how left or right it is. I'm going to judge it based off of other qualities. Like, I feel like I've moved away from that spectrum. And to now, in my mind, it's like populism versus elitism. You know what I mean? That's what I really just care about. But that's just my opinion, my point of view. He does have this intro where he's like, I don't know if you've seen it, but he's like driving up to a house and it's very 1950s. And I think if I had to interpret that, that's his like end goal. Like in the 50s or whatever, the middle class was like really strong, and that's what he's trying to get back to with this conservatism. But it's not gonna fucking work. This neoconservatism, it doesn't fucking work, because all it is just social conservatism. It's just really, we really care about religion and traditional values on social issues like gay marriage. But when it comes to economics, when it comes to that stuff, it's just bending over for international banks and corporations. It's no different than neoliberalism. It's just they're liberal when it comes to social issues like gay marriage. They're against the neoconservatives. But then when it comes to like economics, because that's what it is. The DNC and the GOP, they're just so like buddy-buddy when it comes to like screwing over people on the behalf of like the oligarchy. Like they're on the same fucking side. Don't think for a second that they're like enemies. We got two parties of one party. They only disagree when it comes to something more like social, like just gay marriage. And that's it. But yeah, I don't see how this type of conservatism is going to get to like build a strong middle class. Like it just seems like no, never going to happen ever with your your ideology. Just no, this is not going to be a good thing. No. Now, more new conservatism, like I heard from Sagar and Jetty, where it's like goal oriented, like yeah, let's shoot for this, growing the middle class, and family values. I'm not going to say traditional family values, because that just ends up being dog whistling for homophobia. No, just family, like statistically, it's important to have family values, you know what I mean? Like people who grow up from good homes, good families, they benefit a lot from that. It's a good thing. Like it is really a noble thing to like value the family. Like that's a nice thing. But at least he's goal oriented, when he's like pro universal healthcare, because like, oh, that'll get us there. Let's conserve this. Like he's just like, I'm done with John Doyle's video. Like I could keep watching it and go on, but I think we've gotten to the core of like why he sucks. It reminds me of philosophy. Socrates. Like, it's important to know the difference between what you know and what you think you know. What you know and what you believe. What are facts and opinions. Like, it's very important. And not only that, but when it comes to things that you believe, you gotta be malleable. You gotta be capable of changing your mind if need be on your beliefs. Like, your beliefs can't be just set in stone. Because it's not knowledge. These aren't things that you know. It's different. It's completely different. It's not wise to be that way. Like, literally. The way that Socrates talks about wisdom, it's not wise. It's foolish. By Socrates' standards, John Doyle is a fool. Like, a huge one, too. Like, he is a big, fat idiot. Because he's just so wrapped up in his beliefs, and he thinks that they're the truth. My beliefs are the truth. That's not a good way to be, John. That's not a good way. That's not a very wise position to hold. But yeah, this video has gone on long enough, and there's still a lot more. And it's funny because I talk a lot compared to how much he talks, but it's because he's just his mouth is a machine gun of bad takes. Just da-da-da-da-da. Like, he talks fast, and he just goes from subject to subject, and he makes these big blanket statements. Yeah, so of course I'm going to have more to say on what he says based off of what he said. But yeah, like, I think we've gotten to the core of why John Doyle is so cringe. So, I guess I'll just leave it here and end the video here. If you want to watch the rest of it, obviously I'm going to link it. Like, I would link it no matter what.
Do you need me to repeat my bumper sticker argument to you again? Ow.